Hey guys, it's Fazadel. Hope you're having an awesome day. So I want to give a brief introduction to the channel. I was motivated to start because over the last 12 to 18 months, I've noticed my favourite hobby going down a path that I don't really like. I'm talking about all these service-based titles. Games like Fallout 76, Anthem, and what they all have in common is that they're released mostly unfinished, they're full of microtransactions, they can be pay to win, sometimes they'll have loot boxes, and they'll also have a really big multiplayer component to them as well. Don't get me wrong, I love multiplayer, I can't wait to play Classic WoW later in the year, but I think there's been a real lack of exposure to high quality single player titles in recent times. I want to bring the exposure back to those games, and I don't care if they're made by a team of 2, games made by a team of 500, if it's a high caliber game, I want to play it and I want to give it the attention that it deserves. I'm also going to be focusing on changes in the PC landscape, and that brings me to the topic of today's video. Okay, so I wanted to jump right into the discussion about Epic versus Steam. And yeah, it's really taken off over the last couple of months or so. We've had the release of Metro Exodus on the Epic Store as an exclusive, and then we've also had, quite recently, the announcement of this features and benefits roadmap that's come out for the Epic Store, and it's basically detailed all these bare bones features that should have been there from the start, but now it's on a roadmap and we should have all of these, hopefully, in the near future. But I found it really ironic because if you look at a lot of the big games that have been releasing in recent past, like Fallout 76, you've got Anthem as well, all these games are along similar lines. They're unfinished, they've had these roadmaps because they're lacking in content, things we're going to get hopefully in the future, and in an ideal world, we could have all these games on the Epic Store, and hopefully they could just keep those there and keep Epic away from the games that are actually finished. But what I want to do too is jump right back to when Epic first announced the store, because I found there was actually something really interesting, and that was the fact that when it was announced, the big selling point was this 12% cut for the developers. Surprise, surprise, there was nothing in the selling points for the consumers. It was all for the devs. And this 12% was a big difference from Steam's 30% cut, and it certainly got a lot of developers quite intrigued. Now, on paper, if I was a developer, I'd feel the same way. I would love anything to get money in my pocket. I know a lot of those small developers obviously struggle for support sometimes, so anything to help them is great. But that 12% is absolutely nothing. You are paying to have your game on an empty, featureless store, and that is about it. For 30% with Steam, you're getting your game on the biggest digital market space in PC gaming, and you're also getting all the benefits that come with that. Everyone there's already got their libraries there, their friends are there, they've also got all the marketing and everything there for you as well to give your game some exposure if it's a good game. Not to mention, if you have a great game, you've got the user reviews, which should be a benefit. If your game's great, the reviews will reflect that. If it's not good, they'll reflect that as well. So I think the fact that Epic also used no user reviews as a selling point was pretty much just for people who aren't confident in their games, and that can't be a good thing. Now, also with that, obviously the biggest release in the last little while on the Epic Store was Metro Exodus. And it's pretty much become like the poster child for the Epic Games Store. I think anyone who sees footage of it, if they see the game on any sort of video, anything like that, the first thing you think is not, oh, there's Metro Exodus, oh, that was a great game. I think everyone's thirst for it is, fuck that game. That was the game that the publisher took it over to the Epic Store and made it an exclusive at the last minute. That's what people are sadly going to remember it for, and it is a shame. I've played it, obviously. You can see the footage. You can see me struggling, but basically, with Metro Exodus, it's a decent game. It's a little bit run-of-the-mill. It's nothing special, and I think if you can have an exclusive game on a platform like that, you need something that is truly remarkable. You can't have a game that is sort of by the numbers, it's okay. If you want to sell a brand new client and get people to go and download it and install it at their inconvenience, particularly when there's no features of its own. Now, along with that, Epic have kind of shown their hand as well, because if you go and look at The Division 2, obviously it's on Uplay and it is on Epic Games Store as well, but conveniently it's not on Steam, so Epic were obviously paying for that exclusivity just to keep it away from Steam. It wasn't really about other platforms. They're happy for people to go and use Uplay as long as it keeps them away from Steam. That's pretty much what they're paying for at the moment with all their Fortnite money. Now, there is something, however, that really caught my eye, and I'm just having a look at it here, and it's the fact that with The Division 2, they were happy for people to download it as is on Uplay, but they weren't happy for Ubisoft to be selling these keys to third-party retailers. So they don't want anyone going to a third-party site, perhaps getting a little bit cheaper. They want everyone paying the full price on the store. And I find that a little bit frustrating because as an Australian, if I go to Steam, if I go to Epic, I go to anywhere, and I try and buy a game brand new, the prices are pretty horrendous. I have to pay somewhere around sort of $80, $90 Australian to get a game like that off the store if it's not on sale, if it's a brand new release. However, if I'm using Steam and I go to a third-party key site, I can actually find a game, let's say Resident Evil 2, that's a great game that I bought when it came out, I was really excited for it, and I got that on a third-party key site for $55 Australian. So that is a huge difference, it saved me around $35, and Epic don't allow that. They've maybe talked about it, but I don't see many plans for that to happen in the near future, and they've stopped Ubisoft doing it for The Division 2 because they don't want anyone getting a saving, and for that to be the reason that they're not using Epic. So given that move that they've just made with those keys, that's not something that I think is going to change anytime soon, and it sort of also leads me to the other issue, and that is the fact that Epic are trying to turn the PC marketplace into something similar to a console marketplace and landscape, and I don't like that at all. I don't think there's many PC gamers who came to PC and hoped it would be exactly like console. I think a lot of us enjoy it for that choice, to be able to choose Steam, to be able to choose GOG or GOG.com as most people call it, and also other platforms, whether it's Activision, the Blizzard Battle.net store, Uplay, Origin. I don't really care. I don't think anyone cares what people game on either. We just like having that choice. That's kind of being taken away with these PC exclusives, and it's gotten people very upset, very outraged at games they might have been looking forward to, and Metro Exodus obviously being the biggest one, followed by The Division 2 where no one can go on a third-party key site to get the game for Uplay. Something else as well is I actually have a bit of a theory with Epic Games. It's something I've been thinking about for a little while now, and I actually think that they made their store completely bare bones on purpose. I think it was because they wanted to see how people would kind of react to the exclusives that came to the store. They wanted to see how many people were willing to download the client, jump on it, buy a game, even though that there was actually no features or anything to the client itself. They were just going there for the game. I know people might have it for Fortnite, but I don't think there's much of a crossover between Fortnite fans and Metro Exodus fans or any of the other games that are kind of coming out, or those little indie releases. There's not a huge crossover, and I think Epic know this, and it's why they targeted games like Metro. They wanted to ensure anyone who bought that game were going to be new customers, new users to Epic, who would download that client and give it a go. I think they haven't been totally satisfied with that, which is why they've released this roadmap to try and get a few more people over there, to get people on side with all the new exclusives that are coming too. And they don't want it to be just about the games anymore. They want to improve their client, and maybe they're doing it a little bit sooner than they wanted to, given that testing phase where people were going over just for the exclusives. I think it's something interesting to think about. Now, something else as well, and it's something I wrote a lot about and I've been thinking about too, and it's about how can Epic Games actually create some goodwill for their client? I know I'm talking about it and all the problems with it, but I don't completely want to see it fail. If it actually provided something for me and for other consumers, I think that could be a good thing, because I would like real competition to Steam, but just not this fake competition where it's all about exclusives. I think something they could do is they could actually look at games that are coming out to console and they're not releasing on PC, or if they are, it's a really bad PC port. A good example of a bad PC port would be something like Arkham Knight. And if we look at a console game that just isn't coming to PC, maybe something on PS4 like the Persona series. What Epic Games could look to do is actually help these developers out, invest money, use their resources as a PC developer from way back, starting with Unreal Tournament, is actually help these guys out, bring these games to PC after investing in them, and that way there'd be goodwill because they wouldn't have come to the PC platform anyway. Anyone who downloads these and downloads the Epic Store would be doing it knowing that if Epic didn't help, if they didn't invest in these products and these developers, that they wouldn't have come to PC anyway. I think that would really create some goodwill. And something else I was really thinking about also was that they need to actually invest themselves. They're developers, they created Fortnite, they've created good games in the past, and I'm not seeing them really come up with anything new. They're just resting their laurels on Fortnite and throwing the Fortnite money and the League of Legends money at these third-party exclusives. Why don't they look to something like Nintendo? When the NES came out originally, we're talking a long time ago, they had Super Mario, an iconic game that's completely changed the standards at the time. Epic aren't looking to do anything like that. They're just looking to throw money at middling games and hoping that'll create the market. I don't think it's good enough, and I think they really need to change that structure if they're going to create a really great storefront, and a storefront with heaps of people going forward who are going to build their libraries there. I don't think they're doing enough. As for Steam, given it is Steam versus Epic, it's not just everything against Epic. I think what they need to look at doing is not change a whole lot. I've seen them kind of go down a path where they're starting to talk about maybe censoring a few things, and I think they need to be careful. There's a lot of troll games on Steam. I completely understand it. Things of a low quality, games that might have offended a few people, but I don't think they should change everything. I would hate to see them start going down a road of censorship and for some good games to slip through the cracks. That'd be the worst thing. I'd much rather have everything, even the good and the bad, if it means that those good games don't slip through and we still get a chance to access them. To be honest, and I don't think I'm alone in this, I don't go on Steam, use the search features myself to find games. I look online, I do my research there, and then I'll go to Steam, maybe check the price, along with GOG.com as well. And I reckon a lot of people do that too, and given you've got the user reviews, unlike Epic, you've got that option there as well. That's all I've got to say on the Steam and Epic situation for now. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of developments down the track. It's a really interesting topic, and I can't wait to see where it goes. I hope Epic can be a genuine competitor to Steam and not just the nuisance they're being at the moment, taking away games from people who want a choice in where they buy them. Thanks very much, guys, and if you enjoyed this video just as much as I enjoyed making it, make sure you leave a like, and if you want to leave a comment down below, I'll absolutely get back to you. I want to keep the discussion going any way that I can. And thanks again, guys, and see you next time.